Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Stay on target.
You can't handle the truth.
Stay on target.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
With great power comes great responsibility.
There's only one God, man. I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome
to another episode of Jake and Connor and Pop Culture Redemption. Yeah!
Woo!
Today, we are wrapping up The Lord of the Rings. Today we're in part 3. Return of the King. There's nothing theological in that to talk about at all.
No. Just the title alone.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Today I am joined by my iced coffee, my half-calf oat milk, caramel macchiato.
Okay.
From Kraft.
Because there's no label about what syrup was in there. I was worried that you had just coffee in there, no syrup.
Oh, no. I gotta sweeten it.
I was about to be so proud of you.
For what? For just doing the straight coffee?
Yeah, for drinking
with
like
latte?
coffee.
I mean, I have. And I haven't even opened my straw yet to put in my drink because last few episodes I've noticed I have it half gone by the time we start. And you know what? I want to make sure that this whole conversation is enjoyed with coffee. So I have put it off until this moment. This is the first sip. And it's good. It's a good sip.
Wait, it was a caramel mac. You do know that an iced caramel macchiato is just an iced latte, right?
Yeah. With vanilla and caramel.
Like there's nothing different about it being a caramel macchiato versus an iced latte.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Just making sure.
I do know. What'd you get?
I just got a latte because I already had some sugar-y, carby things this morning.
Uh-huh.
And I need to be smart.
Smart,
toit. We're not here to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nope. We're here to talk about
Frodo and Sam, Aragorn, Legolas.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not convinced that Frodo ever learned Legolas's name.
He might not have,
because there's the scene at the very end when he wakes up and everybody's walking in.
He says everyone's name.
He says everyone's
Legolas.
name, but he just stares blankly at Legolas.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was in that moment when Legolas walked in that Frodo thought, maybe I'm dead. Because that might be an angel. Maybe I am dead. Maybe this white Gandalf in front of me, who I thought was dead.
Yep.
Last time I checked and was gray. Last I heard. And then I saw him swoop in on eagles and pick me up off the side of a mountain while I was half dead.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, I'm dead.
Yeah. We're all dead.
And then he sees his friends. He's like, maybe I'm not dead, or we're all dead. And then he sees Legolas walk in. He goes, crap, we're dead. I don't know. I'm sure there's a Lord of the Rings like wiki something.
There's a whole Reddit thread about this somewhere. The wiki isn't there. There's like a whole Lord of the Rings only like wiki site. Isn't it like the one wiki to rule them all or something like that? That's amazing. I know there's a Star Wars one because it's called Wikipedia.
Yeah, there's one for, I can't remember what the Lord of the Rings one is called, but I feel like it's something like that.
The one wiki to rule them all.
Yeah.
That implies that there's other wikis in the Middle Earth.
Other Wikipedias.
Yes.
But the Lord of the Rings one rules all of the other Wikipedias.
Is there a Hobbit Wikipedia?
No, they just said there's a Star Wars one.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So three wikis to the sci-fi. 7 to, I don't know. And one wiki to rule them all.
One wiki to rule them all.
That's amazing.
There you go. You can look it up. I don't actually know if that's what it's called, but I do know there's just a Lord of the Rings one. I really hope it is. So somebody can fact check me. All right. As you got to experience this movie again and all of its 4.5 hours of extended version wonder. So long.
but so good.
It's so good, but it's so long. I started it. I was like,
How many sittings did it take you this time?
Two.
Only 2. Okay.
Only 2. I did 3 hours in one sitting, and then did the last hour and a half after that. So I got through the whole battle at Minas Tirith.
Minas Tirith.
Whatever.
Tirith.
All right.
Yeah,
you can't even do it. Oh, how the turns have tabled. And then, and to the point where Frodo got stabbed by a giant spider. I got to that point. That was about 3 hours in.
Okay, yeah, because that's around the time I walked in, and I remember thinking, no, that was, and then you started the second watching with Sam saving Frodo.
Yep.
And I just remember thinking, like, why wouldn't Sam have just checked for Frodo's pulse?
I mean, he looked pretty dead. And also the poison might have slowed down his pulse to an unrecognizable number.
Okay. I can believe that.
So, yeah, then I watched the last hour and a half. It's great. It does justice to the books.
This one does?
Which I appreciate.
This one does?
No, they all do. They all do.
I mean, they don't show Galadriel the creepy at the end.
There's some pieces that, you'd be like, I get why you made that decision cinematically. You can't do nuance in a movie like you can in the book.
Anything like come off the top of your head? Like one of those differences?
Well, I'm pretty sure in the books, Aragorn gets the sword right away. Like before they leave.
Oh, before they leave Rivendell?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure. But again,
I mean, that would kind of make sense.
It's been a little while since I've read the books, but he doesn't, because after wherever dang it, what's the elf's guy name? The dad.
Elrond?
Thank you. Whenever Elrond shows up in the camp and is like, voila, a sword. That whole scene is actually
Arwen?
Yes. She comes and her and Aragorn have a conversation. And I'm pretty sure Aragorn's like, I'm going here. And she's like, don't do it. You're going to die. But I don't remember that for sure.
That
part is fuzzier in my brain, but I'm pretty sure. Because when I read the books and he got the sword in Rivendell at the beginning, I was like, what the crap? Because I'd seen the movies first.
But honestly, it kind of makes sense because they show in the first 2 movies, like the sword he is using looks really similar.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're trying to show it.
Again, cinematically, I understand why.
Yeah,
they would do that.
They saved it for the right moment.
Yes. But in the
Gave
books,
him a good character arc.
You're like, what? I think I said this earlier, but there's a moment in Parks and Recreation where
you opened.
Ben Wyatt says he gets made fun of by someone else, and they're like, "How about you just go watch Lord of the Rings again or something like that?" And the guy's like, and Ben was like, "Bold of you to assume that I would enjoy Lord of the Rings, but I actually wasn't a big fan of Peter Jackman's interpretation."
I wonder what he would think of the War of Rohirrim.
That's interesting. That is a good movie.
It was a great movie. One that we're not talking about right now, but it's a good one.
Yeah. So what was your experience as you watched this movie again?
What stuck with me was towards the very end, and this could be a good place to start a conversation. Oh, this would be a good place to end the conversation. We could just wrap up really early and just be done.
Okay.
But there is the line or the little bit whenever there's the voiceover of Frodo reading from his book, and he says, "How do you pick up the threads of an old life after you realize there is no turning back?" Mm-hmm. That's just one that stuck with me because it's kind of what I'm writing about. But that kind of I think opens the question of what do you do when you notice that you've changed? For the good or for the bad. I mean, obviously in this case, it's probably for the better, but how do you come back into those old places knowing that you're not the same person? And now that I'm just kind of talking, it kind of reminds me of whenever I first graduated college, I went back to my hometown for a little bit, and I got there kind of half expecting life to just keep going like it had been before I left. And I recognized that all the friends that I had, I just hadn't done a good job of maintaining my friendships with them. And so they had all learned to live lives without me. I also think I relied a little bit too much on my sister's very bubbly, sociable personality. But it was hard. It was hard to come back and realize like I don't have relationship with anyone anymore. And it was one of the most lonely seasons of my life. So that like maybe that's a good place to start is just how do you come back to something that's the same but you're different?
Yeah. Or even like the place you come back to is probably a little different too. But when you change in a way that is where you're further from the people than you were before. Because you're different. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. Boom. There you go. How about that conversation? No.
Roll credits.
I think it's, for me, thinking about asking questions about, I'm reading this book. Well, I'm reading a lot of books, and I just read this yesterday. Thinking about, okay, what's my environment? Is it the same, different? You can evaluate your environment. And then what's me? Like, you can evaluate internally. Do I need to change? Do I need to adapt? All these things. And then the third question that kind of comes from that is, if you're thinking about, for instance, in your situation, you come back in like these relationships that you once had, not there anymore, or not as strong as they were.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, do I need to try to adapt the environment? Do I need to adapt to meld into the environment? Or do I just need to accept this is done and it's time to move on?
Yeah.
Because that's the conclusion that Frodo comes to.
It's time to move on.
It's time to move on. It's time to move on. I am so different than the Shire and the people in the Shire. And I can still appreciate, specifically probably the relationships he has with Sam and Merry and Pippin. Right? And that those can still they probably feel very strong still. But I don't fit here anymore. And I did once, and it was good then. I've gone on this adventure, and now I am very different. Like you said, some better, some for the worse, whatever, you know? And it's time for me to change my environment and to move on from these people. Because, you know, he could try to change his area. He could try to change himself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's appropriate. Sometimes we do that. But sometimes it's just, like you said, like the season was good. And it's time for something new. But I think that lens can be helpful for me. It's been helpful for me.
The lens of looking at environment, looking at myself. Okay.
Yeah. Of what's the thing environment wise that I might want to try to change? What are the things in me that either I might want to change or that God wants to change, and use this discomfort, whatever that is, of this external environment to change me? Or is it time to just remove myself from this environment and to move on? Kind of like Frodo does there. Kind of like we do when we're like college and becoming adults and figuring out who we are, settling into who we are, that like first opportunity to go out on our own. It's quote unquote, we're not on our own, but you know what I mean? Like set out without mom and dad, and you really start to become and solidify and recognize who you uniquely are without the, like you said, like relying on the, like your sister's socialness and our parents' umbrella and all these things. All of a sudden we're figuring out who we are. And then we come back and we are different.
Yeah.
It's hard.
We're bigger than the roles that people like continue to put us in. Because like these guys are going from having the entire coronation at Minas Tirith, bowing before them, acknowledging the great feats that they've done to save all of Middle Earth.
Yes.
To seeing, I don't think they ever named him. He's the old gaffer, right? That the Hobbit that just like glares at them as they're riding in their kingly outfits.
He might be. I'm not sure.
Like I can't even imagine what it must be like to go from for a moment was the single most important person in all of Middle Earth to you're glaring at me because I no longer belong here.
Yeah. Right. Well, and Frodo, especially all of them, but especially Frodo, has a much different outlook on life than the rest of Hobbiton in the Shire. Right? They like the Shire is very shielded from all that's happening.
Yeah, they probably didn't even recognize that anything happened.
Right. Or they might have, but they might have been like what Mallory and I talked about in the last episode. Like they might have heard about it, but they're so far removed from it, it didn't impact them in a way that it impacted, the ring bearer and everything that he went through. So you come back with a different perspective, a different outlook on life. And oftentimes our worldviews become incompatible. We all have, I think, those friendships like what you talked about where as we grow and mature and change, some of our friends change in similar directions.
Yeah.
And we still really connect well with them where we're at now. And some of our friends change in a different direction. That makes it more difficult to connect now. It doesn't mean necessarily it's bad.
Right.
It just is.
It's just recognizing the change.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of those friendships, if you have a lot of shared memories and things, they are still very meaningful to us. And we can go back to that well of shared memory and shared experience and still get along and love each other and value each other. But we might find ourselves not yearning for that specific relationship as much anymore because present day, we just don't have a lot in common. We just don't see the world the same way. We, insert whatever. And that's okay, Yeah.
Well, it can be the same way with even with spiritual practices, not just relationships.
Yeah. Because
I also remember at the beginning of last year when we were still at Revolution, I had amazing practices of just being able to sit in silence, be able to pray and listen for a while every day. But then situations changed. We had to step away and I was so anxious. I couldn't sit in the quiet anymore. And at the time before all of that happened, I was reading book after book, trying to learn to improve my ministry leadership and all these things, like the library of books that you're currently reading. And I remember just being so bitter that I had lost my job that I put them away saying, I can't, I'm not a pastor anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of shame going into that next season of I used to have this, now I don't, it doesn't work anymore. But it's really just because I needed to have recognized that what once worked no longer worked, but that didn't mean that I wasn't working anymore. There's an acknowledgement of what has passed and an understanding that God is still around us. Because his presence is inside of us. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit. We're not going around our lives trying to look for places where we can meet the presence of the Lord. We're no longer looking for burning bushes. We are we are the embodiment of his presence. So we don't have to look for places where he is. We just have to look for places where we are aware of him. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to do that if we actually aren't looking, because we're just trying to make something that used to work again.
Yeah. And I made this TikTok yesterday, so it's very fresh on my mind. It is okay to quit.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hear that.
Cool. Then
you know what I mean? It is okay to let go. It's okay to say no. It's okay to end something that has been or still is good. In our culture, quitting, not good. Don't quit.
Yeah,
ever.
It's failure.
Mama didn't raise no quitter, right? Finish all the food on your plate.
All the food.
Clean your plate, right? all of these, and I'm not saying that perseverance isn't necessary, because oftentimes it is. It isn't good for us. It is. But if we're not persevering about the right things, and we're just everything, if Frodo didn't come to the conclusion that it was time to move on, to quit the Shire, and he's making the hard decision of these 3 friendships I'm removing myself from.
Yeah.
Right? I'm leaving. Then he doesn't have a chance to flourish.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully to find some healing and some peace and some respite on the other side of the sea. So many of us, though, I think, feel like Frodo, where we're at. And we have this false belief in our brain that God doesn't want us to quit. That I shouldn't quit.
Or can't
quit. And sometimes, don't mishear me, sometimes God is telling us don't quit.
Well, yeah, imagine if Frodo quit on getting the ring into...
Yes. But sometimes God's saying, let it go. Stop it. And it's not even not even like stop sinning. Yeah, okay. It's not like a sin thing. It's this thing that you're holding on to. I've been asking you to let go of this for a long time. Why won't you let go? And it's because we hear the Holy Spirit, or we feel Holy Spirit's leading in this way. But then we also have this belief that I'm supposed to persevere and fight through and blah, 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 all this. And we have this conflict in our brain. And it's like, well, it's because this, I don't know if false belief is the right word. I think it is. We always have to see it through to the end. No, you don't. If God's asking you to, then yes, see it through. But God might be asking you to stop it. Yeah. Stop it.
Well, it's the line between understanding where God's presence is and what's bringing Jesus out of us. Because sometimes he is with us even in our suffering, right? There's Shadrach and Benny. What are the names from VeggieTales?
Rack, Shack, and Benny.
Rack, Shack, and Benny. Rack, Shack, and Benny.
Ananiah,
Mishael,
and Azariah.
Azariah.
I think.
We got there eventually.
We'll get there someday.
We always have one term or name that we get wrong every episode, so we got that out of the way.
Got it out of the way.
But like there are seasons of those guys in Daniel where he's thrown in the lion's den. They're thrown in the fire, and God is with them anyways. There is God being present with the Israelites in captivity. But there's also moments where God is asking us to step out because, like you're saying, there's something that we're not letting go of that is keeping us from union with God. Mm-hmm. Because that's the goal, right? If we just start defining sin as anything we do that's just wrong, then it just becomes a performance for the Lord. And that was never his intention. Like, the only point of the law was to show us that we can never do it on our own. It wasn't to like, well, if you do this, and this, then you'll get to heaven. Not the point. But if we start seeing sin as missing the mark of union with God, well, that just reframes everything for me. Because if I want in my life to just be one with Jesus, right? To be the man that Jesus always intended to bring out of me, then anything that gets in the way should not that it would be easy to get rid of, but it's like okay, well, if this is getting in my way from bringing Jesus out of me, like, what do I need to do with it? As I've been looking into and writing about this kind of stuff, it's been really helpful to start to see things that way of, okay, well, I'm not doing this so that God would be happy with me. I'm doing this so that Jesus would come out of me. If that's the goal, what do we need to do? Is staying in your current situation making you more like Christ? Is it bringing perseverance and care and all the, perseverance leads to character leads to all the, what's the scripture?
Suffering leads to wait.
I started at the wrong part. I'm so
Suffering produces perseverance, character, hope. Hope does not put us to shame.
Yeah. There are going to be seasons of our life or even relationships with people that really irk us where that is the purpose.
Yeah.
Because through the hard situation, through the messy relationships with the people that frustrate us, we will become more like Christ.
Yes.
There are also then situations that we just need out of. Because like in no way am I saying, hey, if you're in an abusive relationship, like God wants you to stay there because he wants to use suffering to make you like Jesus. God wants you to work in this really hostile, unhealthy working environment that's just beating you down because he's just refining you and making you a real man.
Yeah.
Like that's not always the case, and we just have to be looking for God. Not looking for what we're doing right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hard part, I said this last 2 episodes ago with you, I think, discernment is hard because we're picking between good options. We're not picking between a bad and a good option when we're discerning, typically. That's usually just a wisdom or a sin issue, like, but usually we're picking between, so that's why it can be very difficult. And when we're looking at times in our lives, when we make a change, when we feel the restlessness and the frustration and the whatever it is that we feel, and we know we need to make a change. And maybe we don't know what that change is. It's to be present with God and understanding he sees and knows what we need. And yes, there's an aspect of looking for fruit, for sure. By them you will, by their fruit you will know. And there's a quietness and a stillness that we need entering into those discernment and decisions to go, God, I don't see the full picture here for me or for this other person or for the other people involved. And it seems to me like this is, if I was to end this, that it will go this direction. But honestly, I don't know. Because I'm not you. Like I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but you do. And to be open to God saying it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Even when things are good. And to be listening.
Yeah.
For that. And trusting in that decision.
Well, because that'll reframe the whole situation.
Yes.
Like I've had bad days at work.
Yep.
I love my job.
Yep.
I love the church that we're at. But there was a day a couple months ago I was ready to quit.
Yeah.
And I actually had a conversation with a superior about that. And going through that, like, because that was like the end of a week, the end of the work week, walking into the weekend. And having to spend that weekend reframing my mind with, because I always struggle with scarcity mindset, as I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yes.
So in my head, I can't quit because if I do, then we're out of money. Like we need my paycheck, so I'm stuck here. But even in that moment, during that weekend, the Lord kept showing me that like, you'd be okay if you did. And the freedom of understanding, like God will provide. I don't have to be worried about that. I showed up to work the next day and it was a little bit easier. Situation wasn't easier. I'm still working at I'm working in communications. This is not my strongest suit. I am not the best communicator, but I'm learning. Like every place you work at, there's going to be misunderstandings, miscommunications. Nobody is perfect, so there's always going to be issues. So the situation did not get better. It did not get worse. But my understanding of it changed because I realized like God is with me in this. I realized that like if I need to leave, I can. If I need to stay, I can. When we understand like there's an out, it can give us the same perseverance, the same character, the same hope, staying just as much as it does leaving. Yeah. And that actually could reframe the entire, like, that might reframe the rest of the movie as we're kind of like, I realized like you asked me, hey, what's the first thing you thought about? The ending. it kind of reframes the rest of the movie too, and how we're watching all of these events unfold. Anybody could have just quit at any moment. It's hard. But when you know what's at stake, when you know that, like, honestly, if I was just a soldier in the crowd and I see Aragorn in the front, I'm like, we're good.
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Look at that man. Look at his sword. Look at his beard. His awesome hair. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry.
I don't have to worry.
Yeah. Like it can help reframe everything that people had to endure when they were going through this. Because another thing I thought was really interesting watching it through this time was I started comparing what's his name? The king of Rohan. Theoden. Theoden king with what's his name? The crazy dude. Crazy king of Gondor.
The steward?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Starts with the D. Dunathor? No.
Denethor.
Like I started comparing, contrasting Denethor and Theoden. That the way that Saruman was working against Rohan was actually oppressing Theoden's mind. They didn't have to do a single thing to Denethor at all. He was doing it all to himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But there were also endings that happen. The one I'm thinking of is Gandalf appeals to Denethor to get his act together. And what does he do? He doesn't.
No, not at all.
So Gandalf immediately makes the decision, this isn't working, ends that course of action and pivots a different direction. And again, there's an opportunity. Gandalf was like, do I need to change the environment? Namely, do I need to keep trying to push Denethor to do something? Do I need to change myself? Nope. Or do I need to go a different direction and remove myself? And he decides that one. And he goes a different direction. So there's opportunities throughout this movie to see that.
Denethor.
That's what I said. What'd you say?
We were saying Denethor.
I said Denethor.
Oh, sure you were. You jerk.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, I just didn't want to go through the entire
People
episode
can't-
calling that man by the
people
wrong
can't.
name.
People can't rewind and fact check me. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is live for everybody.
No problem. No problem. We talked a lot about last episode about Smeagol along that similar line as far as when you have difficult people in your life, evaluating that with God. Because sometimes there's difficult people in your life that God's like, yeah, you need to create a necessary ending. And you're like, okay, show me how to do that. But then there's people in your life that God says, no, you don't. And sometimes that there's a lot of different reasons that could be. As we just look relationally, could be, God's going to use me in my representing Jesus to positively influence this person, which very well may be the case. But it also might be God using that person to change you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that goes along with our thinking. But where I kind of want to talk about, too, in this with Smeagol is with the people in our life and specifically with ourselves. When he says Smeagol lied at the end, when they're battle royale to the death,
Smeagol
over
said
the ring.
he promised on the ring.
Yes, because Frodo's like, you said you promised that you would
Protect us.
Protect us. And Gollum probably says, Smeagol lied. One, when Smeagol made that promise, I don't think he lied. I think his intentions were, I will do this. And so then when, push comes to shove at the end, he broke the promise.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean he lied. He broke the promise. But two is I want to evaluate and just vibe on, watch out for a spirit of falsity when it's in your interest to lie or to spin or to twist or to be deceptive.
We don't struggle with lies in our culture today at all.
I never struggle with falsity.
I never get calls saying that we have a check for you for $5,000 if you just give us your social security, your mom's maiden name, and the street you grew up on.
Yes. But many of us we say we're going to do something, make a promise, or just like following Jesus, like, yeah, I want to do it even when it's hard. And then it gets hard.
Are we going there?
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I think sometimes we're not even aware of it.
Mm.
I'm going to not say that because that doesn't make me look very good. Oh, I'm going to hold that out. I'm not going to reveal that part because it's not in my best interest to say that part.
Mm.
I'm going to confront this and this other person, but I'm not going to like bring this up because that doesn't make me look good. And I don't want to like talk about how I'm broken.
Mm-hmm.
We do this all the time. At least I do. I guess I can't
speak for yourself.
I guess
sinner.
I'll always speak for myself, But I saw that, just this phrase, beware of a spirit of falsity.
Mm.
And recognize it for what it is when it happens. When we feel that yearning to spin something. So when we edit, we include some things in this story, but we leave out this part.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in that moment, like snatch that thought and go, why am I doing this?
Yep.
Why am I withholding this?
Yep.
And it's like spirit of falsity.
Yep.
Why am I doing that? Is that from God? No. Satan is called the father of lies, the deceiver. Right? Yep. So that is like a little tiny golem. Like
Schmeagol on one shoulder.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like in us, but it's that yearning to protect ourselves, to make ourselves look better, to not have to confront the darkness that is in us, right? Or that we struggle with.
I just now have this image of angel, Schmeagol, devil, golem. And it's like the scene from Emperor's New Groove where Golem's like, well, 1, look at him. 2, look what I can do. The angel, like, no, he's got a point. No, that you just took me back to my days in Kansas City. I was hired into a church plant with stipulations because 1, it was a church plant by a bigger group that brought me through like this process, like evaluation. That's the word. And so it was the evaluation was to like, okay, do we approve that this person will work well in a church plant? And the couple of the recommendations they gave me, like, or stipulations for taking the job, was 1, I had to find a mentor, like a worship pastor mentor, and I did. It was a great relationship. 2 was like I had to commit to a little bit of like accountability, and counseling wasn't immediately suggested. But they would have given me more if I had been fully honest, because I straight up lied to them. Mm-hmm. During the interview process, they were asking me about, past struggles, because I was honest enough with my life, my struggles, my testimony, my issues with pornography. But like you said, I spun it. Mm-hmm. I told them I haven't struggled with pornography in a couple years.
Yeah.
When I was still in the thick of it. And later on, because one of the stipulations was to be the church was very discipleship heavy. And so I had to be a part of a discipleship group led by my senior pastor, by my boss, which then, of course, just fed the lies to spin it more, because like, dude, if he knows, he's literally going to fire me. Yeah. But going through that process, like there was no way to hide it.
Yes.
One of the first things that we even talked about, and I still have the notebook that the journal I kept from that season. The front of the cover says, "This is no place for false vulnerability," because it truth got out. It was kind of hard to hide. And there was even a moment after kind of like that first confession where my pastor even told me, "Jacob, if I had known this, I would not have hired you." Mm-hmm. But he worked with me. He invested in me. He encouraged me and counseled me and all this other stuff. When we spin things, the amazing thing is that God can still use it. Mm. He can still not turn it, because it's like pastor at our church a couple weeks ago said that like God doesn't need to turn because he never really changes. We actually do the turning. So when it says that what the enemy meant for evil, God turned for good, it's more like we're just turning to see that he always intended it for good. It's amazing to see how God God will work with it, and with the understanding of God's just going to work with whatever you give him. If you give him lies and sin and deceit, he gonna work with that. You give him honesty and truth and vulnerability, he's gonna work with that. And that, to me, at least in my own experience of my temptation to spin things, to not tell the full truth, to try to maintain a good image with other people, has just come down to that scarcity. This understanding that, like, if I do that, I might lose out on the blessings and the provision of God.
Yep. That's why so many of us are so isolated. Because we're not honest, and we might have a bunch of people in our lives, but then we're not honest with them, so we feel lonely. But then we go, if I was honest with them, they would reject me, and then I'll be lonely. And so then we're stuck.
But then we're still lonely anyways.
In loneliness. Yes. And so what's the way through? Honesty.
Ruthless, unashamed honesty.
And yeah, because we have the sneaky fear. It's like, if I'm honest about whatever, then I'm going to be rejected. And guess what? Sometimes we are.
Straight up.
To not, let's not sugarcoat this. Sometimes people will reject you, but that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of them.
Yeah.
It is. It's a reflection of, maybe they're like going through it too, and they have fears too, and like your vulnerability and honesty scares them, and so they don't want to be near you at this point in their life because they're also insecure about that thing. So yes, so sometimes our vulnerability draws people in. Sometimes they decide they're not ready for it.
Sometimes they'll use it as a weapon against you.
Yep. Sometimes they will, and it sucks. And it sucks. So
no, but it's what you're saying. It's not, that says more about them than it does you, and it still hurts. The amount of times I've been quote unquote encouraged by older pastors in my life saying, you just can't let people know how you're feeling. Yeah. Because they'll use it against you. And hearing the stories of these older pastors of the times that they were honest or vulnerable with somebody in their church that then turned around and just weaponized it. Like that happens.
Yes.
But that is no reason to just completely cut yourself off from everybody. That's actually why we became friends.
We're friends. Oh my gosh.
Because we were both worship pastors at different churches.
Yes.
And honestly, like, I kind of figured this out from my days in Kansas City, because I had lots of friends with other people who worked at different churches. But just like having another person that, like, I can complain about my boss too, or yes. I can grieve about something that's going on in our church that congregationally people can't know about. But like, if I tell you, it's most likely not going to get back to them, and it's not going to, like, you don't go to my church,
right?
It won't affect how you then like receive the sermon from the pastor, who's also human, who's also not perfect. Like, you still have a place where you can thrive, and that's how first of all, we became friends because of Jordan, but secondly, like, just having that relationship where it's like I can fully be myself and not have to worry about what I'm doing or saying affecting. Because before, when we were first in McPherson at a Revolution, like before, most of our friends were just from the church, which is great. You should always have friends with the people in your congregation if you work for a church. Like, that's actually pretty important. But there is a little bit of a line.
Yeah.
There's a line of,
it can be. Yeah.
I'm still your leader.
Yeah.
I'm still your pastor. And having people in your life that you don't have to pastor is so incredibly, like, that's kind of full circle. Could you imagine how the journey between Frodo and Smeagol and Gollum would have gone without Sam? Without somebody who had a different perspective because he wasn't bearing the burden of the ring, who could see past Smeagol's lies.
Yeah.
I mean, Frodo wasn't exactly honest with him, but Sam saw it anyways.
Yeah.
And never abandoned, never gave up on him. Like, we need people who see outside of our perspective. We need people who we can be honest with, who we can be vulnerable and not have to be afraid about being vulnerable with. Tricky part's then just, finding the right people.
It is a tricky part. It is a tricky part. Yeah, the wisdom of appropriate vulnerability. Yes, that is hard. It is hard. I think sometimes too, recognizing when we're being steered by the expectations of others.
How so?
In church ministry, as pastors, leaders, teachers, preachers, whatever level of leadership you're in. I don't even know if that's an appropriate qualifier. I think we could just say in churches, period. When we are making decisions based on other people's reaction,
Ooh,
I'm not sure that should be our only considerations. And I think oftentimes it is the only consideration that we filter our decisions through.
you're like trying to manage the consequences before they even happen.
I feel like, here's an example. I feel like I have to say this thing. But if I say it, here's how my church is going to respond. Will you say it anyways? I think a lot of times, I don't think with ill intentions. I think with good intentions. But I think oftentimes I've seen it in my own ministry. I have made decisions about what I'm going to say and not say, what I'm going to speak out about or not speak out about, what I'm going to be honest about and vulnerable about, and what I'm not going to, based on how that will be received by other people. Instead of asking God, do you want me to say this?
And even, how do you want me to say this?
Yes. But I think so many of us don't even, like, if it's a hard thing, I wouldn't even talk about that in front of people. That's not, because then it will, quote unquote, divide the flock. And that phrase, I don't want to go there. I just don't want. How will people know if you don't tell them? There we go. That's all I'm going to say. Some people will respond negatively when you got something hard from the Lord to say. Guess what? People didn't like prophets very much in the Old Testament. But you know what? Who the prophets spoke for?
The Lord.
God. And when people don't have the opportunity to receive something and to repent and to return to the Lord, right? And to honor God in that. When God's given us something to say and we don't say it, it's not on them and their hypothetical reactions.
Right.
It's on you.
Isn't it?
It's on me.
Isn't it?
God's
Ezekiel?
like, I'm going to hold you responsible. Yeah, it's Jeremiah, I think. Or all of them. I don't know.
Well, I'm specifically thinking, I think it was Ezekiel. The Lord said, if you do not say this, the blood of their hands will, their blood will be on your hands.
If you tell them and they respond poorly, it's on them. But if you don't tell them,
that's
it's on you.
Mm-hmm.
And But this is where it's hard. It's hard. I'm not saying this is easy. It is hard because then how do you say it? And you got to walk with God in that for sure. But I think our decision making in so many of our, for me, my decision making so often is first I'm thinking about how are they going to respond? And God's like, no. You want to be considerate for sure.
Well, that's where the how comes in.
Yeah. And sensitive. And you can anticipate how they're going to respond. But guess what? You actually don't know how they're going to respond. God does.
Yeah.
And you might be right. But you also might be wrong. Might just be your fear. Fast forwarding to an anxious future.
Ooh, that's a good line. It's going to be the title of your book someday.
You know what I saw the other day at the bookstore? This is a aside. I had this book idea I told Jake about. The Get Out of the Boat.
Yeah.
Get Out of the Boat, right? I was like, this would be a great book idea. You know what I saw at the store the other day?
It's called Get Out of the Boat.
It's called You Can't Walk on Water If You Don't Get Out of the Boat by John Ortberg. Gosh dang it. I was like, well, that book's already been written.
To be fair, that dude has some crazy book titles.
Yeah, I like his stuff. I really do. I've only read a couple books, but the ones that I've read, I've been like, yeah, that was really good. Anyways, that's an aside.
Oh man. No, that's fair.
It's hard. And that's why I didn't want to just qualify it to church leadership.
Well, that's also not even just leadership. I mean,
exactly.
That even colors how I talk to my wife, my friends, my family. Oh Lord, my family.
Dude.
You go back home after being gone for so long and you start like, ooh, this is even connecting to like, you know, stuff we've already talked about in this episode. Like you go back home after being gone for so long and your family already sees you as one thing.
Yeah.
Like I know me. I would go back home and I'm just, a lot of my family will probably see me as the klutzy guy that that doesn't know really how to say things and kind of messes things up without meaning to.
Yeah.
And I go back home and that's not who I am anymore.
Right.
But it's so hard to balance that line between shattering their expectations just because I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And just completely exploding on them. Because I've definitely have an uncle who like, all he thinks is that if you're not working back-breaking manual labor for your entire life and hating it, you're not a real man.
I'm a real boy.
And I'll get texts from him every once in a while that just says, rub your wife's feet, do the dishes, stack some firewood. It's okay. He won't.
Please don't rub her feet in the living room, my guy.
Like,
I hear you.
I start coloring myself by just like, honestly, not even engaging with it.
Yeah.
And just letting it happen.
Well, that's I mean, I think this is last episode too. That's hard part of changing is that you're changing and you're going through your own internal stuff of becoming a new person, and the old is gone, the new has come, stepping into the newness, stepping into whatever God's doing in you. And guess what? As we walk with God, we are always changing. Like, that should be an expectation of a spiritual journey that I feel like sometimes isn't expressed.
Yeah.
I thought about this the other day. This is kind of a tangent moment, but I feel inspired.
You're welcome.
I wish I was more in leading. I want to be more upfront about this is where I am. In 5 years, I will be different than I am right now. And I expect everyone in this room in 2-3 years to be different.
It's just you and me here.
Than they are right now. And to lead in a way where you're open to that. I think so. You know, we get into these, you and I talked about, is Jesus the cornerstone or is our dogmatism the cornerstone or our theology the cornerstone?
I'm glad I said it because I don't remember it.
Is our theology the cornerstone or is Jesus the cornerstone? And you might think they're the same, but they're not the same. Is as we are being conformed in the likeness of Christ, we are changing. And people in our churches and our communities, as they are pursuing Jesus, they are changing. And that my beliefs and my theology today will be different than it is in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. And to lead with an openness with other people to say, your theology, what you understand about God and Jesus and life in the world will be different in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years than it is today. At least I hope it is. Because if it's the exact same in 20 years as it is today, are you walking with Jesus? No. That would be my answer.
You're walking with dogma. Yeah.
No, yes, you're not. Yes, that's a good, yes. You're walking with your dogma. You're walking with your theology. instead of walking with Jesus. And like, imagine our faith communities if that was just the expectation and we're open to this and we're going, yeah, I'm good with you changing. I'm good with changing. I don't want to control your changing.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to control mine because I'm walking with Jesus and I want you to walk with Jesus. And instead of pointing you to my theology, I'm going to just point you to Jesus. And I can be honest about what I think and about what I feel like God's revealed to me and about my process to that. And I can be honest about all those things. But at the end of the day, for you and me to be in relationship with one another as followers of Jesus, it's not, do you agree with my theology? It's,
Are you walking with Jesus? Yeah.
And are you encouraging me to walk with Jesus?
That's what I love so much about like good and healthy addiction recovery groups is there's elements of like, hey, there's some things that are clearly like you need to stay away from. Hey, if you're walking through a addiction recovery, maybe don't, like if you have an issue with alcohol, maybe don't stop by the bar for a burger. Just a thought.
Right.
But for the most part, I just want to help you recover and understand that your recovery is going to look different than mine. Because if you look at all the different members of the fellowship, each of them had their own different journeys that they had to go on that required different things. For Gandalf, he had to literally die.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Be reborn by a trial of fire and water.
Yes. For
Baptism.
Aragorn, he had to step into the authority of like, okay, put the ranger aside. I love that line. It's time to put the ranger aside and it's time to be the king you were born to be. Oh, so good. Maybe not have been the book, but it's fine. This was still a great moment.
Yeah.
For Frodo, he didn't need to be a king. He didn't need to die. He had to carry the burden. Sam had to just make sure that Frodo survived carrying that burden. Like every single member of the fellowship had their own struggles, and and their own journeys, their own things, lessons they needed to learn. Like also recognized this time watching. I don't know how I didn't recognize this before. Dude, Gimli is racist.
Yeah, he doesn't like elves.
Super racist.
He doesn't like elves.
How about fighting alongside a friend? I can do that. Like
elves don't like dwarves either, by the way.
But if any of them tried forcing their journey on another, it would not have worked. The best thing that we can do is just encourage people along the journey rather than the theology, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I had a thought, then I lost it.
Yeah, are you discipling people towards Jesus, or are you discipling people towards your theology? Those are different. And yeah, I mean, I hear the there's nuances to that. So I'm not saying that obviously our theology plays a piece into that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's a very different process that we go through with people. If it's, let me not just tell you about, but help you encounter a real person, as opposed to, here's the framework. You know?
There's less relationship inside a framework.
Yeah. And here's how I'm following Jesus. Here's how I experience intimacy with Jesus. Let's try some of them. How's that work for you? What'd you feel? What'd you hear? What'd you receive? Okay, what are some different ways we can try it? And here's some other ways that other believers have, past, present, done this.
Yeah.
Namely spiritual disciplines.
Yeah, but letting them be inspirations rather than rules.
How do you, and what are some different frameworks and understandings for scripture and how, and the walk of you and reliance on the Holy Spirit and prayer and all these things. Here's my understanding of them. Here's others. Like, I wish there was more of that.
Yeah. I think we might be coming into a culture of that.
Here's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And everyone else is wrong. And I see that a lot in Christian circles. When it's like, okay, here's how we do it. Here's how others do it. Like, I think what you said is true. I think that's something that people, especially people our age, a little bit younger than us, yearn for that, and are seem to be, for the most part, going to churches where it's you know, like, just because it's liturgical doesn't mean it's suspect. for people older than us.
Yeah.
That can be the attitude for a lot of people. And I get that. I know the history of that, and I can understand why that's the case for many people. For young people, it's like, no, we want to feel rooted in historical Christianity.
Yeah.
Not like in a way that locks us in, but just knowing that
Inspired by
that's
it.
where roots,
Yeah.
like we understand our roots and how we've gotten to this point, and that just because something's old doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with the
Or
other way.
to
Just
be-
because something's new doesn't mean it's
That's
bad.
right. Yep.
It's being willing to recognize that some things that used to work might work again, but also knowing that new can be good.
And just the humility, like that's something too. The church is, as we put our faith in the cornerstone in Jesus, we are people of peace, because he is peace, Prince of Peace. We're people of love. We are, at least when we're like following Jesus, we're not perfect, but this is the goal. Non-anxious presence in a world of anxiety. And when you talk about like scarcity abundance mindset, that's one of the reasons that Christianity was so countercultural in Rome. The Roman officers are writing, these Christians, we don't understand them. They're not afraid to die.
Yeah.
Like, they're not afraid to die. And that just in general, and you could say that they're not afraid to be canceled. And I'm not saying get out your, cultural warrior sword. What I am saying is they don't make decisions based on whether it's going to positively or negatively benefit them in the moment.
Yeah.
They're making decisions because they want to honor God and love people. And they're not afraid to be challenged or to have hard conversations or for their viewpoint, their worldview to be questioned, because they're so secure in Jesus that it doesn't bring them anxiety to go, this is what I think and I might be wrong. Let's talk about it. Right?
Yeah.
Whoa. Like that would just, like, that's the kind of people I want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I got trained in college. I had like evangelism discipleship training program, which was super good. It was really good. And I'm not looking for a conversation on whether this is a good practice or not, but we practice beach evangelism. We just have conversation with strangers about Jesus type of deal, which was fine. As an introvert, it was terrifying, but I remember we had, and I'll always remember this, so I'm very grateful for it. We sat down and I was with another guy. They would pair us up 2 by 2, send us out 2 by 2, very biblical. And we go sit conversation. The guy I was with, he just launched into, he started giving the full, theological breakdown, whatever. Here's the gospel. Here's the analogy, which isn't bad, but and the guy had a book on, he was reading a book about Eastern religions, like on the beach. This guy by himself is reading this book. And I noticed this and I'm like, So the guy's giving the spiel, whatever. So then gives him the spiel, all the things. And so then I just asked the guy about where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all this? And kind of went off script a little bit, which me, I love to go off script. Not in that moment. I hadn't really practiced this, but I was like, well, let's see where this goes. And so I was just like talking to him about it. And he asked me about creation and about how do you reconcile what the Bible says about creation with, science and evolution and all these things. And my answer was honest at the time. And it's largely still, I'm like, honestly, this is what I think about it. But I don't know. And it doesn't really impact me in my faith in Jesus one way or the other, because I've experienced Jesus and I know and if I don't understand this point, then that's fine. It doesn't sink my faith. And kind of was just honest about what I don't know. I was like, I don't know. And the guy he said, that is very refreshing. He said, I haven't really talked to many Christians about this and heard that, and I find that a lot more. He didn't say beautiful, but essentially beautiful and inviting than a lot of the dialogue on that. And I just thought, that's really shaped a lot of my interactions with people that, one, aren't believers, but also other believers too.
Yeah.
And just going, yeah, your theology might be right. Here's what I think, but I don't know for sure.
Right.
But I do know Jesus, and I've experienced him in ways that I can't explain, or in ways that I can't justify to you that it happened, but I know it happened, and I can explain it, but I can't prove to you that this happened. Here's my testimony. Here's how I experienced him. And guess what? Aliens could exist, and that will not sink my faith in Jesus because I've experienced Jesus. And I'll go, you know what? There are things I do not understand.
I had a worship pastor buddy of mine. We actually talked about that exact thing. I don't remember why, but his response I just found to be really beautiful, because he said, you know, if aliens exist, I bet you God had a way to bring Jesus to them too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's just me. And it just really gets down to the, like, for me, it gets down to the heart of why we walk with Jesus. It's not about having the right answers. Yeah. And I think, to me, it's having the right answers is trying to silence the fear.
Yep.
What if I'm wrong?
Oh yeah.
But the best leadership, the best evangelism, the best relationships always start and thrive in places that acknowledge that the fear exists. Because, like, come on, what is the most impactful speech from that entire movie? I see the same fear in you that would take the heart of me. Or even just Gandalf talking to the soldiers of Minas Tirith, like, don't give in to fear.
Whatever comes through that gate,
do not give in.
Your ground.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's not don't be afraid. Because if I'm just a foot soldier and I'm staring at the massive wolf of a battering ram that has fire coming out of its, dude, I'm scared. I'm probably peeing myself a little.
Yep.
Like, to be told don't be afraid, that makes me feel even more like a fraud than I did before. Mm-hmm. To hear don't give in to fear, even from the leader, tells me they're afraid too. They see me.
Yeah.
They understand.
Yeah.
Or I see the same fear in you that would take the heart of me. But that's not why we're here. We are here to save the good of Middle Earth. Mm-hmm. Now, or even just hearing, like, your story. Like, man, I don't know. What I can tell you is I've experienced Jesus.
Yeah.
I've met him.
Yeah.
6 days or 6 million years, who cares?
Right. And you know, okay, so here's the other piece. Oh. Now, you know what? I'm just going to tell you what I think. Here's what I think. I don't know, but I am okay with evolution. I'm okay with it. And honestly, I think that's probably what it is. Just point blank. And I saw a reel the other day. Somebody said, who was it? But he's talking about when they realized that the Big Bang is a thing. Or, like, scientifically, it's a thing. Mm-hmm. You can, whatever. So, from the science standpoint, Big Bang is a thing. There were, like, Christian scientists who were pumped because they're like, see, there's a starting point. There's a start. Because God, beginning God.
I mean, I would say that when God said, "Let there be light,"
there's a moment where things came from nothing.
Yeah,
and that's a thing. Something has come from nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, points to a creator, doesn't it? But also, if you think about the expansiveness of like creation of millions of years, and how development and how the cosmos became ordered, and how Earth was, and then life and all these things. You want to talk about a big God.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even fathom the timetable that science currently understands from the beginning of time to we are right now. It doesn't even make sense to me.
Or even just the size of the earth.
And that makes it astounding.
Yeah.
And makes God even more astounding to me.
Yeah.
So there's my
I used to
take.
be the apologetics nut. Like all of my English papers in high school were about, let me just prove the fact that God exists.
Right.
And you always wrote, you want me to write a 5-page paper on anything? I'm going to write a 15-page paper on why God exists.
That's right.
But honestly, it's just.
And here's the fruit.
Yeah.
Here's the fruit of so many of us in faith discipling people to our theology instead of to Jesus is when young people go to college and they come in contact with different worldviews and with science and different understandings of evolution and all of those things and the time and the creation story.
Mm-hmm.
And they what do they call it? They deconstruct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Deconstruction is not bad. Deconstructing away from Jesus, that's a bummer, but hopefully, Jesus is working in that. I have hope that he is. But what they're deconstructing is their
Theology.
And when theology is the cornerstone, then, and it's the same as Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
then when they walk away from their theology, they walk away from Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And if we, all of us, are better able to point all people, not just young people, to Jesus the person and create spaces and opportunities and relationships to push people towards Jesus the person, experience the Holy Spirit in prayer and in fasting and in scripture and in all these different ways, right? Mm-hmm. Silence and solitude and nature and music and art, community. Experience Jesus and identify Jesus there and see him and experience him. Then when they encounter different worldviews, they go, yeah, well, I'm anchored in Jesus and I've experienced him. And they're rooted and they go, yeah, guess what? I'm confronted with new information about how I see the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's called living. And they go, okay, here's my understanding of, if we continue to parse this out, how the world began and how it all happened. And then, okay, they're telling me a different thing about how it all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Let me engage with this without fear.
Yeah.
And engage with this with Christ.
Yep.
And saying, help me understand what you want to show me in this and what I need to know, what I don't need to know, what I need to be okay with in mystery and not understanding, and what you actually do want me to understand and to just have that conversation and to be more secure and open in those spaces. So, and then we, with our kids, with our young people, with whoever is in our life, are a lot more open to their own journey. It does not have to match my journey.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe what I believe. Oh, right? Like to have people, even if you think about it just in the context of you're leading a small group, do they have to believe everything about Jesus that you do? Is that your goal?
Mm.
Or is your goal to create a space for people to pursue God and love each other? And then turn around and love the world out of that. And guess what? Yes, we have conversations about theology. That's totally fine. Like we have conversations about all of this. But is success...
A good litmus test. If you think that if your image of Jesus agrees with every little thing that you do, as not the full image of Jesus, he should be challenging you. Not commissioning you to force other people into your view. Commissioning? That's probably the right word.
Coercing?
Coercing, yeah. Well,
You can pay them.
the goal is not to have the right image of God, because what is it? It's Wesley. Bring me a worm that can understand a man, and I will bring you a man that can understand God. We will never understand God.
Yeah.
Think about how many heresies there are about trying to explain the Trinity. Is he an egg? You have the yolk, you have the white, you have the shell. It's all one egg. Nope, still doesn't work. We cannot understand him, but we can know him.
Mm.
But when the goal is to understand him, we cease trying to know him.
Or you mean like completely understand him?
Yeah, we can't completely understand him.
Yeah,
We can learn
there
a
are
lot
things
about
him. We can understand.
Yeah. Like, I can know a lot of detail. Like, there's a lot about your life, Connor, I do not know.
It's true.
I don't have all the facts, but I know you.
You do know me.
I don't know every single day that my wife has lived, but I know her.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between understanding and knowing. It gets a lot easier when we stop trying to think we have to have all the facts.
Mm.
You can have all the facts about the ring. You still want it for yourself. You can know deep in your heart, you understand, like you know it needs to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helps lead you into what you need.
Yeah, I don't know how to parse out the difference between understanding and knowing, but
Well, like
I can see where you're coming from.
there's a sermon illustration I've heard. This is okay. Never mind. This is more about like the difference between obedience and not. Like, you know, your parent says go clean your room, and so they come back to check on you. You've done nothing, and you're like, "Well, I understood the words that you said. Mm-hmm. I memorized the way that you said it. I looked up the original definitions of all the different words.
Yeah.
Okay, but did you do it?
Yeah.
Do you know all of the different names of God in the Bible? Do you know all of the original Hebrew of Genesis 1 through 3?
Mm-hmm.
Do you live like God is active in your life? Like that, to me, that's the difference.
Mm.
I may not have all of the facts about it, like I have all the facts about my favorite artists or celebrities or whatever, but I do not know them. I don't know them personally. I don't know who they are.
Mm.
I just know a lot of stuff about them.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the difference.
Gotcha. I heard a phrase once: delayed obedience is disobedience.
Ouch.
Sorry, Mom, for all the times that I disobeyed you with my delayed obedience. Mm-hmm. 5 more minutes. Delayed obedience is disobedience. Oh! I think there's a conversation about Gandalf in all of this, and how central he is to everything that's happening in the fellowships, not just the fellowship, but in this war and the resistance to Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't have a specific goal for, but I'd like to explore. Will you explore it with me?
I mean, sure. I don't know
You
what
can
my
say
other...
no if you want.
No,
You
roll
have a
credits.
choice.
No,
You have a
sure.
choice.
Sure, let's do it.
You have a choice. I think I want to be Gandalf.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think he's very...
You gonna start growing a long beard?
No. I think generally the way that he leads throughout this and the perspective that he has, I find very endearing.
Okay.
He seems to have the larger picture in mind.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movies. And he seems to understand what needs to happen and when. And he seems to know the moments of urgency and not. And he seems to bat 1,000 for those.
Even though all he does is just hit people with a stick.
That's right. Yeah. It's like he's the, like you see all the pawns on the board, and he's the guy moving the pawns.
Yeah.
you know, he's not engulfed in, he is, but he's not, his vision isn't narrowed by the circumstances of the present moment with the people he's with.
Right.
But he's looking at this grander narrative, essentially.
Okay.
It's almost like he is a storyteller, but he's not. But he's outside of the circumstances. Because I think it's so easy for us to get tunnel vision by our situation and our circumstances and the timetable and the what I want to happen now and immediate gratification, and like get so caught up in what is this person doing right now, and it just shatters our like mental or emotional, not well-being, but like our state. You know, this one person did this one thing at this one time, and now I'm sunk. And Gandalf seems to largely be above that. And I wonder how to cultivate that in my own life with the Lord, and to go, help me see things the way that you see them, and help me to understand what is going on here, so that the tyranny of the present moment doesn't overwhelm me.
Yeah. What would you see as the differences between Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White? Because he comes back with a mission. He always seems to have that vision of like, this is what he, because I mean, he's one of the only people that recognizes the ring for what it is.
Yes.
In the book, it takes him a while to figure it out, but like he still sees that. But there's also moments he didn't see when he was Gandalf the Grey. He didn't see Saruman betraying all of Middle Earth.
Right.
Like he got caught, but like, so what do you see as the differences between the Grey and the White, and how he acted? And
I think the character is the same, but the mission, purpose, power that comes along with it changed, obviously, when he became Gandalf the White. It was like the love for people and for goodness of Gandalf the Grey, and the appreciation of the Hobbit and the elf and the dwarf and the man, and the wisdom of living, what do you say, 50 lifetimes? I think he says this is what he says in this, is it this movie? I think it's this movie. Yeah. He's like, I've lived 50 lifetimes and now I don't feel like I have enough time.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. Because he's like thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Is there. But Gandalf the White seems to have even more focus, but also he's walking with authority and power that he recognizes he has. And he exerts it in ways that were different than Gandalf the Grey. Because he did not, and he knew he didn't have that authority and power. He had a role to play, and he had things he can do, and he can provide wisdom and counsel and help lead and bring people together. He's a very unifying person as Gandalf the Grey. But from Grey to White is he maintains all of those things, but he also gets a power boost, essentially. But not in a way that leads to the detriment of his character, but it kind of like upcharges his, or I don't know if upcharges is the right word. What's the word? Not upcharges, but charges up. Just
levels
flip
up.
those. Just flip those. Yeah, levels up, charges up.
He just wanted to fight the Balrog to get all the XP for himself.
That's right. Yeah, fly, you fools! I'm stealing your XP. All for me. I'll be back.
Yeah.
I think it's walking in the power and authority.
Yeah. To me, what I not like just after, because I didn't have a right answer. We just talked about there are no right answers. So this, like as you're talking, I think like what I kept hearing was like Gandalf came into contact with real authority, and he came back because he knew all the timeline, right? How on God's great earth is he supposed to know to tell Theoden and all of them in Two Towers, like, hey, on the 5th day, look at sunrise and I will be there.
I will be there.
How in God's great earth is he supposed to know that? He came back with having encountered the real authority. who saw above it all, right? So I'm thinking, I'm like processing. Man, I think the way we do that is just find every instance we can to get in contact with the authority. Because then he takes, if we can bring out God's presence inside of us and around us, he will take the best parts of us and the worst parts and use it for his glory, for his benefit, and turn us into the people he always intended us to be. Like, now I'm just trying to think, like, man, what are all the ways that, like, I just need to start orchestrating my life around, do I sense the presence of God here? Because if not, maybe I'm not going the right way in this instance. Maybe I got a little off track.
Yeah. I think for me, like, that's a good point. And I love the opportunities to be a part of pivot moments for people, for organizations, for whatever. Like, that's part of the reasons I like consulting and advising, counseling, is I don't have the answers in and of myself, but I know the one that does. And I love to be a part of those moments. So I love Gandalf's character, I think, for that reason, as I think about it, is he is a part. He is the catalyst of everything that's happening in this. Not necessarily everything, but like a majority of what's happening. Yeah. He is setting into motion.
He either sees it, sets it.
Like, either sees Gandalf it or is the one that's setting things.
Yeah.
Or he's I don't know if he's setting, I mean, he's the push. It's his instruction or his counsel or his whatever that is like spinning off all of these things. He's the one that's making sure that Rohan comes to Gondor's aid, because he sends Pippin up to the top. We have to go like that thing because this guy's crazy and he ain't gonna call them, and if they don't come, we got no chance.
We're done.
And he's like, and I sent Aragorn on a side quest. I have no idea where he is. Or Aragorn's on a side quest, I guess I should say. I don't think Gandalf sent him on it, but like, he's like, this definitely ain't gonna work if Rohan doesn't come. Rohan, whatever. Yeah. And so but he seems, like you said, the authority piece, he seems to have insight and intuition that is beyond the understanding of the world that he's in. And I think that is exactly how followers of Jesus, how we can walk in that authority. Not to dictate and to destroy and to hold it over people, and but to have the confidence, the charisma, the peace of, and there's parts of this where Gandalf is hopeless, right? Or seems to be failing in hope. But we in Christ don't have to have those moments, because our hope isn't in the limitations of humanity or the world or any of those kinds of things, but it's in God. And we get to have this cool opportunity where we can walk with God and go, hey, my confidence isn't in me, but it's in God. And he's got a plan and he's working it out. And I get to be a part of that. Oh my gosh, that's so cool and hard sometimes. And I get to have the opportunity to speak into other people's lives and to help them and to serve them and to represent Christ to them. And I'm not walking in my own authority, but in his authority. And it just seems really cool. Yeah. To me. Well, and it's not just a story, it's reality. Yeah. It can be reality.
Understanding that our authority, not only, like, so first, our authority does not come from us.
Yes.
Right. But it's also available to us. Like, kind of coming full circle, because we've been talking a while.
I don't have my watch on, so.
Oh, we've been talking a while.
What time is it? How long?
We're at like an hour 40.
Okay.
Minus like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of And I just lost my train of thought. So we don't like the authority is available to us. It also doesn't come from us. It's not only that it doesn't come from us, it's available to us. I used to have this understanding of talk. Oh, that's where I was going. So talking about like, and I lost it. Okay. So talking about how dogma is not the most important thing, right? I'd even go as far as to say the actual spiritual practice itself is not the most important thing. Mm-hmm. Throughout all the different transitions of my life, in all of the stuff I'm writing about, I'm talking about the idea of building altars. I'm comparing it to like building cathedrals. In these different seasons of my life, I built up the cathedrals, the high vaulted ceilings, the really uncomfortable wooden pew chairs. I've appointed the pastor and done all the things, all the pageantries that are beautiful in their own nature. But then when the cathedral crumbles, I was left thinking I had lost access to the altar. When now that I'm looking in hindsight at all the different times that my life has not fallen apart, but definitely kind of crumbled a little bit and just transitioned, the altar was never lost. All of the ways that I had practiced approaching the altar were. Mm-hmm. All of the practices, the dogmas, this is how we do it. This is the translation I have to read. This is the time I have to pray. This is how I pray. When those are gone, the altar is still there. When everything that we do to lead up into approaching God's authority is still with us. So as I'm trying to think like, man, how do I'd love, because honestly, like, dude, the way you talk about it, I'd love to be Gandalf. That sounds awesome. I'd love to just walk around hitting people with the sticks. Like, be right.
I don't want to hit people with a stick. I'll just put that
Maybe
on
that's just
there
me.
You go.
Maybe that's just me. But being able to see past the current circumstances to the greater truth that's going on and what needs to happen for God's glory and the greater good.
Yes.
Man, it's just recognizing that like, hey, the things that are still good are not like and working are not the most important things. I mean, listen, COVID already kind of showed this because the way we were doing church was kind of working, kind of not. And then it stopped working.
Yeah.
And we had to keep going, not because Sunday morning worship service is the most important, but because gathering together in worship is. Like,
yeah. And when you're like, we talk about like, we have God's authority or whatever. We have that authority when we're walking in God's will. And when we're not like, haha, I've got God's authority.
Oh,
God's like,
yes.
No. Because the tremendous irony of these three movies, a tremendous irony of these three movies is specifically the role of the Steward of Gondor and how the Steward of Gondor and the Steward of Gondor's sons, I won't lump Faramir into that.
Don't throw Faramir under the bus like that, bro. Come on. He is a hero.
That guy is the best. Read the books. That guy's the best. Is how Boromir in the first movie, which we talked about a little bit, approaches stewardship, which is the king gets revealed in front of you in the fellowship. And what does you say? You says, nah. I recognize who you are. And I know that you're the king and I'm supposed to steward the throne, but I don't follow you. Screw you. And then by the end of the movie, the reconciliation part happens largely through, he goes, I would have followed you to the end. Right. Or something like that. Whatever.
That's what.
No. But he says something similar.
Yeah.
Similar vibe. And which is, beautiful. You're like, okay, the steward finally recognizes he's the steward and that's great. Well, then Gandalf walks into the throne room of Gondor at Minas Tirith, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Walks in, is like, there's an army coming. Here's my counsel to you. You're welcome. Right? Here's what you need to do. And he ignores it. In fact, goes so far as to say, I will not acknowledge the kingship of any king in here. I am the king.
Yeah.
As he's sitting on a tiny throne, he will not even sit on the throne chair. He thinks he's the king, but he's in his little tiny throne chair next to the throne. And as he's saying that, you're like, okay, then why don't you just go sit on the throne? Because he knows. He knows, but he doesn't act like it. He doesn't acknowledge it. That is us.
Ooh.
When we are called to be the stewards of creation, the stewards of God's work, the stewards of what God's doing when we are people of the kingdom of God. It's not we are people of the kingdom of me. It's the kingdom of God. For a reason, we are stewarding not just the money, but the time, the responsibility,
Relationships.
the works, the relationships that he is calling us to steward.
Not lead, not own. Yeah.
Yes. And when we go, I'm not going to do it God's way, I'm going to do it my way. We are doing what the steward of Gondor is doing. And it only leads to his demise and his, not just demise, but the deterioration of him as a person, because he doesn't recognize his role and responsibilities.
It's a pretty quick deterioration.
Yes, but it happens over time, right? It doesn't just happen. And this is an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
Right. And the seed starts to bear bad fruit, of course. Okay. But also the deterioration of his and the detriment of his family, namely his son Faramir, as he sends him off because he can't handle what's going on and he doesn't understand and he's blah, 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 all the things, and the almost destruction of the entire Middle Earth because he will not steward the responsibility that is his to steward in the way they're supposed to do it. But what happens? Gandalf comes in and that responsibility is taken from him. He doesn't realize it, but it is taken from him and given, well, I don't know if given in the context of the movie, but this is what happens in our life and our walk with God. You know, the Mordecai confronting Esther saying, you are here for such a time as this. And if you don't do it, someone else will. God will raise up someone else to do it because his plans never fail. And like his plans will happen. So as stewards and walking in authority, you know, be like, we have the authority of God. And then we like keep walking and all of a sudden we're not listening to God and we're still thinking we're walking in that authority. And God's going, no, you don't have my authority because you're not walking in my plan. You're not walking in my will. You're not even asking me. You're just, this way. And we should be aware of that.
Yes, that's when we start putting barriers in front of the altar. We start making the Holy of Holies that nobody has access to. Yeah. Or in the words of Park and Recreation, you have the VIP, the VVIP, and then the one that we're allowed into. Like we and without the authority, we are nothing. Like you're saying, yeah. Love that.
And is it our authority? It's God's authority. And that's as stewards, as
get off the throne.
Yeah, it's get off the throne of your life. Who's on the throne of your life? Is it you or is it somebody else?
Love it.
God. And when it's God, we have confidence, authority, power, all of those things. We not be given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And all of those things line up and work out. When God's not on the throne of our life,
spirit of fear.
Yeah. And it's just a recognition of where does the authority come from?
It's good.
So, because Denethor,
he ain't it.
Swing and miss. Swing and a miss. Right? He could have been he could have contributed to the flourishing and goodness of Gondor, Rohan, and all of Middle Earth if he would have stewarded the throne and the responsibilities that had been entrusted to him and his family the way it was supposed to be. To the point that when Aragorn ascended the throne, you don't think Aragorn would have honored his steward?
Right.
And said, look at all these things that, well done, good and faithful servant.
Right.
Come share in the glory of Gondor. Come
Denethor
share in the histories and the songs of Gondor and Middle Earth that you, in the midst of grieving your son's death, you stepped up to the moment and you put the needs of others and of this kingdom
Yeah.
on your shoulders, and you commanded and listened to counsel and asked for help and did all of these things that were critical, but instead that glory goes to Gandalf.
Yep. Was just thinking that.
That glory goes to Gandalf, that glory goes to Pippin, and the ascension of Aragorn is solidified without the stewards of Gondor.
Denethor was the servant that was given the one talent and buried it in the ground.
Yeah. And so if we want to be a steward who is, this is the backwards upside down thing of the kingdom of God. If we want for our lives to matter, and we want to hear one day, well done, good and faithful servant. And we want our, crowns in eternity, and we want to share in the resurrection, then we become servants. Become the least of these. We partner with God and bow our knee to God and say, your will is good, your ways are good, you are the king, and I am a part of what you are doing because you have made it so, and I will listen and follow. And that then leads to glory, honor.
Yeah.
For God first, and then also for us. Because we want our lives to matter. And we want them to be significant.
Yeah.
And in the kingdom, they always are. Whatever that role responsibility is. From the littlest of hobbits to the greatness of Gandalf. We all have a role and a part to play in this.
Yeah.
And when we steward it well, one day we get to share in the glory of Gondor. That's amazing. So, because the king has made it so, which is also amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about, buddy?
No, I think that's it. I mean, there's tons to talk about, but I think we kind of hit the points we needed to.
I feel like there's one more thing, but I don't know what it is. I got it.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
You already said this, but we're going to talk more about it.
Okay.
I don't care if this is a 2-hour episode. Happy New Year, everybody.
You can listen to this New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
There you go. Double it up.
For the longest movie, you get the longest episode.
You get the long, yeah. What you don't know is our math is whatever length the movie is, we divide by 2.
And add 7.
And that's what, yeah, there, huh? That's nice. Nice. Well done. Oh, Aragorn and whatever her name is.
Huge age gap.
They did not apply the divide by 2.
A grave robber.
There you go. They did not apply that rule. I guess, there's exceptions to every rule. When you already said it, but when they're about to go into what might be their final battle, and Gimli, I never thought I would die next to an elf.
Fighting with an elf.
Fighting with an elf.
How about fighting with a friend?
That I can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see the path of Gimli and Legolas. And I think there's a lot of parallels that we can pull on to see our own path. How do enemies become friends? To the point where we will be willing to die next to our friend, as opposed to seeing them as our enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I made a TikTok about this. Gimli, at the beginning of the Fellowship, is an extremely proud dwarf.
Oh, so
as all dwarfs are proud, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about Lord of the Rings, dwarfs and elves, very proud. They both are, but let's just focus on Gimli for now. You see Gimli, his pride softens as Lord of the Rings unfolds. And what contributes to that? I always wonder. And my answer is love. He comes to feel love for and from
Legolas
and Aragorn.
Yeah.
And just the Fellowship in general. Right? He encounters Lady Galadriel and has this melting moment, right? Where all of a sudden you see beneath the hard shell that's broken apart by beauty.
Yeah.
Or beauty sneaks past it and gets to the heart. You're like, wow. And the shared battles with Legolas and Aragorn and the difficulties and the trials and sticking through that continues. You see the moment when he's threatened by whatever that guy's name is when they're surrounded. Is that the second movie? I think it is. What's his name? Eowyn's brother?
Éomer. Wait. Yeah. Éomer.
Whatever his name is.
Éomer.
Yes. And he's like, I will dispatch your head from your shoulders.
We're
and,
not
and
a little higher from the ground.
Yeah, and then Legolas is like, your sword would not fall because my arrow would, Legolas is essentially like, if you threaten him, I would kill you before your sword fell. And Gimli's surprised by this.
Yeah.
You see it, which is really cool cinematically, how they did that. It surprises him. And he goes, oh, and he reevaluates that relationship.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where they're joking on the walls of Helm's Deep. The Gimli
You want me to describe it to you, or should I get you a box?
That's right. And he responds, they're joking about it.
Yeah.
Right? That is not something Gimli would have been able to do in the first movie. Can you imagine the reaction if Legolas would have said that at the first meeting of the Fellowship?
There would be blood.
Yes, exactly. It would have been a tremendous insult.
Yeah.
And yet, not even 2 movies later, it's received positively.
Yeah.
And he lets Aragorn throw him. A dwarf lets a man throw him, right? and he's willing to do that and open to do that. So I just think it's so interesting and cool to see, specifically for Gimli, the softening of his pride and the warmth of his heart and who he is as a character through all 3 of these movies, to the point where he is ready and willing, and honored to die next to Legolas.
Yeah.
And to say, this is my friend. This is my brother.
I don't remember when I caught this. When I was, like, the Bible is alive. You can read the same thing over and over again. He will show you different things every time. But I was reading through the Easter story. I can't remember which gospel it was. And the relationship between Herod and Pilate, I think it's John, Gospel John. They're like during the passing of back and forth of Jesus during the trial and all the interrogations and stuff like that. There's this one off comment. It's in parentheses in the translation that I read it in, but it said Herod and Pilate, who were enemies before, became friends that day. And that has always stuck with me, because even in the midst of great suffering, humiliation, having his name, his God, his mission, that why he was here on earth, dragged through the absolute mud, Jesus, through love, is restoring relationships, even to his enemies.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
That should be our mission.
Yeah. Yep. I think when we recognize our mission, it helps. It helps us become.
Well, understanding that Ephesians 6, it says there you have this memorized. Our enemies are not against flesh and blood, or but against the powers and principalities of darkness. And
that's right.
So the understanding is, if you think someone is an enemy and they have flesh and blood, they are not your enemy.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
And we miss opportunities to unite with people that are different than us towards a common goal when we view people as our enemies when they're not our enemies.
Well, it's our differences that can actually help us get farther.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for the church to partner with Christians. One, when I say the church, not just organizationally, but also the people of the church to partner in culture in the world. Mm-hmm. And because I think there's so many times we build walls and barriers that we don't need to because we can't work with those people because they're our enemies. And it's like, no. They're not your enemies. Right? They are people that God loves. Okay, so, and if we are banding together to stand up against injustice or to stand for justice, you could use, instead of using the double negative, to stand for justice, to provide for the widow and the orphan,
right,
the homeless, the needy. That's an opportunity for an enemy who you see as your enemy to become a friend. Not just to win them for the gospel,
right,
for the kingdom, but just to love and to flourish in the place where you're at. And that, yes, that is when the love of God permeates through us and around us. Like that's, talk about an attractive witness to the world. Like that's big time.
Yeah.
And we have opportunities in the world to do that when we're open to joining with those that are different. And you have to have the shared, if the people that, it's until we have that common mission, common purpose, and then the shared battles in that purpose creates those deep bonds of fellowship. And I use the word fellowship intentionally.
Unintended.
A fellowship. As you see these different people come together for a shared purpose and they have shared suffering. And all of a sudden they share in not just a title of fellowship, but in actual fellowship.
And it was pieced together because of their differences.
Yeah.
Because the dwarf says, I will not let the ring go into the hands of an elf.
Yeah.
The man is saying, I do not trust dwarves or elves. Elves are saying, dwarves and man, you don't have this. We're eternal beings. We can take care of this. Yes. And the hobbit's just like, if everybody else is just disagreeing, like, I'll help.
I'll carry it.
Sign me up, coach. Put me in the game.
I'll carry it.
Because, and like, this is just kind of like everything you're saying is connecting it, like things for me in my brain. Like Jesus's ministry, which I would then argue is ours, is never to build walls.
Yeah.
It's always to tear them down. That even in his death, Pilate and Herod can become friends. Even in the crucifixion, the veil is torn apart. Not only do we have access to God, but we have access to each other.
Yep.
Even if it starts in hate, it can still end in love.
That's right. And then one day, when the king returns,
oh my gosh, you and your puns.
Nailed it. We can hear, well done, good and faithful steward. Yep.
And hear the praises.
I have charged you, and you have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Come share in your master's happiness as we enter a new age.
I can't stand you.
Nailed it.
I can't stand you.
If that's not a bow on 2025, I don't know what is, brother. Amen, brother.
All right, so final words for 2025. What you got? Go.
Final words. The times, they are changing. And it's okay. It's good, in fact.
Amen.
So. And it's okay if you don't feel at home any longer in the Shire. It's okay. Because you're different. And that's okay.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good. All right. Thanks for talking, buddy. What'd we go? 2 hours?
Something like that.
Amen, brother. All right. I guess you better. We'll call this the Pop Culture Redemption Extended Edition.
I can't give you and Mallory.
If you've made it to this point, we need a word that people can like
comment,
post on the Facebook group or something to let us know they made it all the way to the end.
but just hashtag I survived.
Hashtag extended edition.
Extended. There we go.
If you post that on the group page, we'll know you're true fans. You're a part of the fellowship. Oh, hashtag. No. Instead of extended edition, hashtag welcome to the fellowship. There you go. There you go. That's it. Hashtag. If you do either one of those, we will know. But
oh my word.
hit us with one of those, one of the comments. You don't even have to post it like right on the page, just in one of the threads. Just get it in there and I will see it. And oh man. And I will just grin from ear to ear. So thanks for journeying with us through this land of Middle Earth.
Yes.
Golly. It's been a good journey.
Hopefully the next trilogy we tackle won't be
It's tough though.
15 hours.
Usually when I have that's right. Usually when I have like 12 watch hours of movies, it means like 8 movies. 3 movies, 3 podcasts. 12 hours. Man, it was good though. I enjoyed it. So,
all right.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right.
Happy 2026.
Good luck, everybody.
We're all counting on you.
Okay, bye.